Talking about a really big topic today with Tanya Unkovic. We're talking about forgiveness, we're talking about shame, and we're talking about healing. Now, those are such important things we often sort of put off because it just seems too hard. But actually, it's something that is so very freeing indeed. Tanya, thank you for being a part of the show.
Oh, you are welcome. Big topic today.
Huge topic, and I suppose it's dealing with some things that may be holding us back in what we do next. It's easy perhaps to go, okay, actually these things were in the past. I'm not going to open that box. I'm just going to leave it there. Sometimes we do need to unpack some things in our past, though, otherwise, because they're stopping us from moving forward.
Absolutely, and they're actually stopping you from being in the present moment as well. So often we get triggered. You know, we're having an engagement with someone, we're chatting away, and then all of a sudden we're triggered, and this anger flares up. And it's got nothing to do with the present moment. If anything, everything was fine, but you got triggered, and then it took you straight back into that past experience, and you got all grumpy about it, and it totally ruined your day. So it's so important to look at this stuff, or else we're missing out on life.
So when we know that there is something in our past that's holding us back, perhaps, an issue of forgiveness, how do we, firstly identify it? Because I think sometimes we don't even realise just how much it's impacting it, and then move on from that.
Well, you do need to actually be mindful of what's going on for you, and to be mindful of the emotions that are coming up. And so often we soothe ourselves. We want to run away from those really difficult emotions, and one of them being anger, right? And so we push it away. It's about making the decision that, okay, if I'm feeling anger, I'm going to give myself the gift of being still for a minute and going, okay, so what's triggered this? And start asking yourself some questions. I was happy 2 minutes ago. Now, all of a sudden, I'm angry. What's happened in the last 2 minutes? So be as mindful as you can to identify what sparked that anger. Then if you can identify it, it's going, all right, what am I going to do about this? Am I prepared to carry this like a big sack on my back for the rest of my life? Or am I willing and ready to let it go? You must be ready, but you must be willing to let something go.
One of the hindrances in moving forward and seeking forgiveness or forgiving somebody, even if you can't confront them or talk to them, is a sense of shame as well, some level of guilt or shame about our own involvement with the situation. It seems unlikely, but it's often at the root of, I suppose, our reluctance to let go.
Yes, and that's why I always say to everyone, when you are doing an inventory on forgiveness and unforgiveness, start with yourself first, because we need to feel compassion towards ourselves. You've just got to stop beating yourself up. We're human, we make mistakes. Start with that and clear it out for you first. Because if we run around in life being angry at ourselves and carrying this shame and guilt, there's no way we're going to be able to forgive someone else. We're going to keep projecting that onto other people.
Tanya, what if you're just not willing to let it go? There's something in you that it kind of soothes you. It makes you feel just or righteous because you've got this anger and you're holding on to it. Yes, you've been told that you'll be free and you'll be better for letting it go, but actually it's just a bit tough because there's something in you that kind of likes it.
Well, yeah, you're getting a payoff from it by holding on to it, right? But, you've got to ask yourself a question, or I often say to my clients, so how's that working for you?
Sure.
And the thing is, it's not. So I then say, okay, let's have a look at 6 months from now, and you're still angry and resentful, and meanwhile you're still, let's say, drinking too much or eating too much because you just won't hang on to this stuff, even though you know it's going to set you free. Let's go forward 6 months and see how you're feeling then. People need to have a bit of leverage, really. They need to understand the significance of hanging on to a behaviour, a feeling, unforgiveness. It's like poison running through your blood, really.
I mean, there is a cost of not letting go, but there's also, I suppose, a huge benefit. And I mean, that can be the incentive, the carrot, if you like, to say, hey, if I can take this step, even though it is difficult, because I don't want to be light about this thing, this can be one of the hardest things you ever do, but it is worthwhile because of the benefit, because of the freeing and releasing that happens when you let go and forgive someone, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, so often we want to feel a little bit significant in life, right? That's part of the human condition. We want to have some form of significance. And a lot of people hang on to negative things because that gives them a bit of significance. And that self-justified righteous anger is one way that you can actually feel a little bit that way. It's about being willing to let that go and know that even though you're not hanging on to that and holding on to it, you are still enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to hold on to that in order to be enough.
Tanya, I get the sense that sometimes letting go is not just a, hey, I'm going to let it go one day, but actually for a lot of us, it takes many, many times of just remembering, actually that old feeling just came back. I've got to let it go. I've got to forgive them. So sometimes it could just be a one-off thing, but often it's a process, right?
Yes. And I always used to use this little, an image or whatever of a balloon. And I would put whatever it was that I didn't want in my heart in a balloon. And I'd say, Lord, I'm handing it up to you and I'm watching it float up. And I would have a little process like that. Sometimes I would share it with another person because when I share it with another person, that actually makes me accountable, but it also gets rid of some of that shame that you hang on to as well. And of course, I share it with God. Lord, I'm not willing right now. I'm asking you to help me to be willing. I'm being honest with you. I'm not willing. Please help me to be willing.
And getting God's help and his grace in that space can actually make all the difference, particularly when we consider the forgivenesses that he has extended to us as well. Tanya, this is such an important topic, and I know that there'll be people listening at the moment, and this has perhaps triggered something in their own spirit about a step that they need to take. If they need some support and resources to do that, you mentioned, talking to somebody else, somebody to come alongside. There's resources, the support on your website. People can access that there?
Yes, absolutely. And on my YouTube channel, and just know that you're setting yourself free.